I want to go now to a great friend of ours and a good friend of mine, Jenny Beth Martin, who is now the honorary chair of Tea Party Patriots Action. I will tell you, folks, the Tea Party was really the beginning of what really got people grassroots involved into what we now see as MAGA. I mean, it was the real grassroots movement to say, you know what, Republicans, Democrats, you're not representing what we feel as Americans. We're going to stand up. And then we got Tea Party members elected into Congress, and we started this kind of new wave. So, Jenny Beth, welcome to the broadcast. Let me ask you this right off the bat. 10 years ago, we did a rally in Washington, D.C., talking about filing the lawsuits on behalf of the groups that were targeted, the Tea Party groups targeted by the IRS. The ACLJ was representing them. And that was the beginning, really, of when we saw the weaponization of government agencies against conservatives. And then yesterday, we saw a DA in New York use that same kind of weaponization to engage in what we call the ACLJ lawfare. What is your reaction to this? I mean, it is like they will not give up on trying to shut us all down.
No, they won't give up on trying to shut us all down. What I think is that what we experienced back then, the targeting began in 2009. And remember, we knew, you knew, your law firm knew, we knew what was going on and that we were being targeted because the things we were seeing from the IRS were not normal. They were outside the scope of what they normally do, and they were just delaying approval for our tax status for years. So we knew that was going on. It took from 2009 when it began until 2013 on Mother's Day weekend when Lois Lerner on a Friday afternoon announced in a press conference, oh yeah, there was some targeting going on of Tea Party and Patriot groups, which Tea Party Patriots were targeted. Maybe it was a Friday morning. And it took that long before it was exposed. And no one was held accountable. We fought. We did have the lawsuit where they paid a small amount for a class action settlement, but the amount that they paid it didn't even come close to the cost to our organization that they cost us just in hard employee time and legal fees, not to mention lost revenue from people who wouldn't donate.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, we were arguing, Jenny Beth, was that these Tea Party groups were silenced. I mean, they were silenced going into the midterm elections. They knew that they were effective then, and Obama and his Department of Justice and the IRS did not want them to be effective in the 2012 election cycle. So as the movement was growing, they effectively made it impossible to raise money because they would not, they weren't denying applications, as you said, they were holding them indefinitely, sending out these questionnaires that made a lot of people just give up on that. I mean, we were able to get the IRS again. We got an order from the IRS that they could never politically target again. And that was, again, a decade ago. But now we are seeing weaponization at the next level, Jenny Beth, which is actually bringing criminal charges. We actually, in the Tea Party, I think you know this, Jenny Beth, we had a moment where we were supposed to be cooperating with the FBI because they were looking at the IRS, and then we found out Lois Lerner was actually emailing the FBI, looking at trying to find a way to bring criminal charges against the Tea Party group, and that's when we cut off working with the FBI and told all of the groups we represented, don't talk to them. So they were trying to do it then. But yesterday, we actually saw it happen. Criminal charges filed against a former president purely because of politics.
It's the weaponization of government. It happened with the IRS. We warned people that if Lois Lerner and the other people involved were not personally held accountable, more egregious abuse of power would happen. And what we saw yesterday was an even more egregious abuse of power in something that has never happened before in America. We just watched happen. A political opponent, a former president, has now been arrested in America. We expect to see this in the Soviet Union. The world does not expect to see this in America. American citizens should not expect nor want this to happen. And for what? What was he arrested for? The charges are just They certainly, I'm not an attorney, but they sure seem bogus to me. And I understand what a statute of limitations is. They're outside the scope of the statute of limitations. I understand enough about campaign finance law to know that the campaign finance laws for a federal election are handled through the federal government, not through a state government. The whole thing is just absurd.
Yes, and I am an attorney. I will say it's a total sham. The indictment itself is absurd. The answer from Alvin Bragg about, well, where's the crime here? Well, you can. I'll tell you. And then he generally referred to New York state law, which would be overcome by the supremacy clause of the Constitution in a federal race for President of the United States. And campaign contribution laws, which the FEC, like you said, would enforce, and decided not to do anything here. They did fine Hillary Clinton's campaign for saying that the Steele dossier was legal fees, not campaign fees. They fined them. They didn't indict anybody. No one went to jail. Logan?
Yeah, we actually want to flash back a little bit. We have that bite from Lois Lerner on we'll put the quote-unquote apology. This is now from nearly 10 years ago, almost exactly 10 years ago, when this happened, when they talked about apologizing to Tea Party groups for being targeted and maybe mentioned names that were similar to your organizations. Let's take a listen to this.
They used names like Tea Party or Patriots, and they selected cases simply because the application had those names in the title. That was wrong. The IRS would like to apologize for that.
I mean, Jenny Beth,
Tea
that
Party
was wrong.
Or Patriots, or the Tea Party
They would
Patriots.
like to apologize for that. But I want to give you this. We only got about a minute left. Tea Party Patriots is going strong. You're still active. You're the honorary chair. Tell people where to go if they want to learn more and support your work.
They can go to teapartypatriots.org, teapartypatriots.org. And we are still going strong. There are 3 different things that we are working on. The first and the most important right now is supporting Congress, especially the Republican Congress, in exposing the weaponization of the federal government and state and local governments as well. And then next year, our super PAC will engage in elections. We have to defeat these tyrants in the ballot box. It must be done. And then our C4 continues to work on election integrity. Last year, we trained and helped place 20,000 of the 80,000 poll watchers that the RNC ultimately placed.
That is awesome. So check out teapartypatriots.org. Great friend of ours who's been in the trenches in this battle with us for well over a decade. Jenny Beth Martin from Tea Party Patriots. Appreciate you joining us.